So that was the missing element that you'll continue to sort of push for, I suppose. What about the inflation test? Because the government says, well, 0.75% is the reduction in terms of the energy policies, but there's a big increase in overall spending, not matched by the overall increase in tax take. So there's more money in the economy. Do you think this puts more pressure on the Reserve Bank?
Well, I certainly think there's a risk here because if you, in the short term, clearly there's downward pressure on inflation, but over the long term, if you put $40 billion of extra spending into the economy, like logic tells you that that's got to put some greater risk for inflation, and then the Reserve Bank has to respond to that. So potentially you run the risk of hurting the people you're trying to actually provide relief for. So what do you do about that? I'm not sure that the government had any choice, though, but to do some of this cost of living stuff. I mean, people are doing it tough. People on JobSeeker have been doing it tough for a long time. People are paying, a lot in their energy and their housing costs. You had to help people rent assistance because of the rental market. So I'm not sure what the alternative is. What you've got to do now, though, is remove the reasons that inflation could get even worse, particularly for businesses. Like, don't make things harder. Do that supply chain work. Don't have the cost of business being so high. Make it easier to employ people. Those things all put pressure on businesses, which puts pressure on costs, which leads to higher inflation. So what can you control for? Try and control for it.
So you think, look, this could have an inflationary aspect, particularly when you're giving more money to welfare, because, power takes the price of power down. Childcare takes the price of childcare down, and then they'll re-spend some of the money, but the other money is given to people to spend. But you're saying you get why that happens.
Absolutely.
It's more about how can we alleviate it in other areas.
Absolutely. And then how can we do that heavy lifting on the productivity and investment side so that you're growing the economy in a stronger way? I mean, to have a 2 and a 1 in front of your economic growth when this country's enjoyed a 3.5% GDP growth, to your point, when you add population, you go into a kind of per capita recession. That's straight into...
It's a tough year ahead, isn't it?
Tough year ahead. That's straight into people's wages. That's straight into, obviously, that forecast unemployment figure going up. That's, 150,000 plus people who aren't going to have a job. We've got to try and make sure that it doesn't happen.
Wages are supposed to be above inflation. I'll believe that when I see it, given those forecasts. Jennifer, thank you.
You're welcome.